Well, I was fortunate to have a wonderful program teaching some wonderful students in Yunnan province on a semester long program called China Fieldwork Semester. And as part of that, we would look at houses, and we tried to learn history through reading a house. And as another part of the program, we would go up into the Tibetan regions around the three parallel rivers, going up into Shangri-La and following the Jinsha River up, then going over Feilai Si, and then going down the Mekong River. And in the course of that, I took a group of students to see where they were going to build a dam on the Mekong River. And in China, they always mark where the reservoir is going to be. So we went down to investigate, well, what's going to be flooded by this dam? And we passed a gate, and the gate opened, and a very surprised looking man saw us there, and he figured we were not from around there, and he invited us into his home and gave us yak butter tea. And we looked at his house, and I remember saying to him, "Oh, your house is so beautiful. It's just a pity it's going to be flooded by a dam. I just wish I could take it home with me to Virginia." And Mr. Zhang said, "Okay, we can do that." 好啊，可以。So that was the idea. And then in the summer of 2017, I came back with a colleague and two former students, and then we decided to try to take it apart, which we did in 4 days. And then we put it on a truck, waved goodbye. 2 months later, it arrived in Baltimore. And that began the saga of rebuilding the house. Now, at that time, I knew I wanted to find a place where we could do a translation from the Himalayas and the Mekong to the Blue Ridge and the Shenandoah. But I did not actually have a place for the house. It was all done on a kind of faith that we would find a place, that when the cart reaches the foot of the mountain, there must be a way over, as the Chinese saying goes. So 2017, the house arrived. 2018, I had a great group of parents of students that I had taken to China who encouraged us to follow this dream and to establish a nonprofit and to try to rebuild the house. So we finally discovered a place, the Friends Wilderness Center, which is a Quaker nature preserve right at the Blue Ridge and the Shenandoah. And then in 2019, we actually broke ground and started the process of rebuilding. My original plan was to have guys from Zhenchuan come here and help us rebuild, because we marked everything, but I didn't know how it was going to be rebuilt. And they went, and 8 guys were going to spend 2 months here. They were going to gift their labor, and they were going to have us pay for the transportation and their living expenses here, show them around. But they got their visas denied, so we were kind of stuck. So how were we going to rebuild the house? My students were wonderful, and they were enthusiastic, and they said, "We'll help you. We'll help you rebuild that house." They came out and they did all kinds of work to clean the logs, to sort them, to rebuild the front gate, to do a rammed earth wall. And I discovered that they really enjoyed the whole process, and that they were learning a lot in a really natural way, learning by doing. And they seemed to just love doing things with their hands and being part of something, starting something that they knew would grow, and building themselves into something that would be bigger than themselves. So that was a real revelation. And I remember I saw kids mixing concrete in a wheelbarrow out of sand and Portland cement and gravel. And if you've ever done it, you know it's really, really hard to do. And they were laughing and having fun and enjoying it and asking questions about concrete and how it's made. And that was when I sort of thought, wow, they can really learn a lot from doing this. So every year for 6 years, we've had the students come and participate in the rebuilding. Now they spend half a day doing practical work, whether it's timber framing and joinery or masonry or doing mosaics and garden work. They spend half the day doing that, and then they spend the rest of the day doing cultural activities that are related to China, related to the story of the house. We have interns who report on the research that they're doing. And then we have fun. We have camp fun in the evening. So we've kept that idea of learning by doing as we've built the place. And we've had some students who come back literally 4 years in a row because they so enjoy that process of doing something a little different each year, but also to know that they're building something that's a contribution to the community.
This is the inaugural China folk concert. We're going to hear a great mix of music. Thank you all for coming.
One of the most rewarding things about this whole project is the way we've been adopted by the Chinese American community. And we never expected that. I had always assumed that this would be a place where I would bring students and use the house, as I did in China, to teach history and culture and about the tremendous changes that have occurred in China over the last half century. But then we started to get more and more people from the Chinese American community who see this place as a connection to their heritage and who see it as a way of passing on their own childhood experiences to their next generation. I mean, I would say I was treated so wonderfully in China. It's the least I could do to show a little respect for Chinese culture in return. But you know, I always say when they come that the house is a physical structure until the people come. And when the people come, they make the house a home. So that's really what the Chinese American community have done here.
Several years ago, probably during the pandemic area, I can remember. So that's when I decided to come to hike in the wood. I saw someone built a house in the middle of nowhere. I found some students, including some Chinese students, and we chatted. Certainly Dr. Flower is there too. So he speaks Chinese. I get surprised. Wow, so he told me about this project. So I found that, and since then I had come to almost once a month to see how everything changed. Now definitely this become not a house, it's a big home.
Do you have any contact with the original owner of the house? Does he know what you've done with it?
I went back in November and visited John Jianhua. And it was great. I showed him pictures. He's been following the progress. I remember what he said to me. Yeah, I'm going to come over. As soon as you're done, let me know and I'll come over. The building process actually brought in a lot of what the Chinese call 人情, human feeling. And I like to say that I didn't build anything here, really. I helped with almost everything, but I didn't do anything myself. Everything that I did here was with other people. That's also 人情, that's also human feeling. And when I look at a wall, I can say, I remember the student who built that wall. I remember the kid who laid that rock. I remember that moment. And that's special.